On this episode of the Comic Blast podcast, we finally give our Birds of Prey review, also talk about what's going on with the box office numbers for the film, and we also get into Sam Raimi directing the Doctor Strange sequel. All of that coming up next.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out? Consider this mercy. I am inevitable.
What's up and welcome back to the Comic Blast podcast. My name is Keenan, one of the hosts of the podcast. Joining me is Grayson as always. What's going on?
Hello. I'm pretty good. How about you?
Great. I mean, we have a really really packed show this week. A lot of
it's probably one of our busiest shows we've had.
surprisingly, I was not prepared for this.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have
I've been keeping like a scribe scribe. What am I in the freaking 1700s? I've been writing in my notepad on my phone all of the news that's come out this week. And if you noticed, we didn't exactly get a Birds of Prey review out by when we said we would because we suck, but also because we're just really busy.
And we suck.
So yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, we haven't got a chance to review Birds of Prey. We're going to take care of that for you on this episode of the podcast. We're also going to talk a lot about some Sam Raimi stuff. That's something that we didn't get to last week. Some big news that broke. Yeah, but before we get into that, we actually did do a giveaway on our last episode.
We've done a lot of stuff in the past week.
Yeah, so we announced the giveaway on our last episode. It's for a steelbook for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and we're also giving away a Comic Blast hoodie to one of our listeners. So I want to go ahead and just randomly generate a name from this program on my computer to find a winner.
How many people entered?
Put me on the spot.
Rough count.
Like 21.
Cool.
Actually, yeah, 21 exactly. Yeah, so thanks to everyone who entered the contest. I wish everybody could win. Unfortunately.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people who are like, I really want to win. I really want to win.
Yeah, I really wish everybody could win, but giveaways is something that we do pretty often on the podcast. So if you're a listener, you'll eventually get a chance to enter for another giveaway and have a chance to win that. So just thank you to everyone who listened to the episode and has helped us grow the podcast and entered into the contest before we actually choose a winner. So I'm going to spin this little wheel thing, and it's spinning.
Insert drum roll.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Drum
roll.
All right,
God.
We have a winner. CDC Films. You've been randomly selected. This is completely random, just so everybody knows.
Congratulations.
Yeah, win the steelbook. So it's really awesome. And we'll get in contact with you pretty shortly. And once the steelbook is out, we'll get that sent out to you.
So to be correct, am I stupid? I don't know why I'm asking this now. But wait, will he get the hoodie and the steelbook?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I thought we were doing two separate ones for a second, and I was like, what? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Hoodie and
so you
the
get a
steelbook.
hoodie and a steelbook.
Yeah. Thank you guys to everyone who entered. We appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who bought some hoodies or sweatshirts or t-shirts over the week. Quite a few people bought it. We really appreciate it. So just shout out to all of you guys. And then real quickly, we want to shout out our patrons and sponsors. Special shout out to Jess, our sponsor of the podcast since day one. And we also have some patrons and a new patron we need to shout out. So shout out to Joseph, a loyal patron for a few months now. And a shout out to our newest patron, Samantha Jason.
Yay.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Appreciate the support. She's like supported my YouTube channel and stuff in the past, so really cool to see you enjoying the podcast as well. So I'm happy that some people that were subscribed to the channel when I was doing YouTube, kind of transferred over to the podcast. And I mean, everyone's support lately has just been really awesome, and the podcast has grown a ton. It's a little bit overwhelming at times, but we're excited about it and where the podcast is going in the future.
Yeah, the amount of people that have come up to me and or that DM me or tell me that they listened to an episode or whatever. They're like, oh, I really want to win the giveaway. Yeah. Which they didn't. Sorry. Next time. And all this stuff, or they're they bought merch. It's it's really heartwarming because it's wow, okay, people really do care. Yeah. And so so thank you to everyone who has been supporting us over the past couple of weeks, which have grown exponentially. So yeah.
100%.
So yeah.
Now we can officially get into the show. We have a lot to talk about. Let's start with Birds of Prey. You want to get into the review?
So there's kind of a triple whammy with Birds of Prey because there's a lot has happened two pieces of news have come out about the movie and that kind of also is part of the review, I guess. But we'll start off with the review and kind of talk about the two things that have kind of affected it, I guess. Sure. So do we want to do non-spoilers or do we want to do just straight up spoilers first, or what? Or do we just not want to do spoilers at all yet?
Let's just not even talk about spoilers because I think we're going to move through it pretty quickly. I'm sure. Okay. I'm sure everybody.
I can honestly, I don't even know. To be honest, I can talk about the movie entirely and not really spoil anything.
Same here. Yeah.
I'm actually, there's nothing to spoil. Not really. I don't think.
Nothing major.
There's only one thing that I'd have to tread lightly on what I say, but I can keep it vague. So yeah, I liked Birds of Prey. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I just thought it was a fun time. Yeah. And it feels a little just kind of just not for me, I guess. Yeah. But at the same time, there's a lot of aspects of the movie that I really did enjoy. Right. I think you and I kind of have the similar opinion that we're just kind of on it,
I mean, everything you've said is just speaking to my heart right now because you're stealing the words out of my mouth with your review so far. Yeah, I'm kind of
I mean, I'm a poet.
You know what? I walked out of this movie and I was like, that was pretty good, but it wasn't for me. And yeah, thankfully we're not ridiculous to the point where we're mad that it wasn't for us. But there was some enjoyable parts.
I'm more so if I got mad about anything, it's that I'm just kind of mad that I felt DC hasn't had anything, at least in the DCEU, that has stood out to me lately. But I can't say that because Shazam, I really enjoyed Shazam. Yeah. It wasn't a amazing movie to me or whatever, but I still really enjoy that movie. Sure. And you got it for me on Blu-ray for my birthday. Yeah. But it's just oh man, so the first complaint that I have, I don't want to get into complaints, but the thing is also tying into the kind of that first piece of news is the title is kind of misleading. Yeah. Because it's not really a Birds of Prey movie. It's a Harley Quinn movie with the Birds of Prey in it. Which is why, if you did not see, DC has made a last minute change to, at least on when you're buying your tickets and you see it online.
Last minute. I mean, it's
after the movie has come out. They essentially pulled. Yeah. They pulled an Edge of Tomorrow, or a Live Die Repeat thing, because that was what was the original title Live Die Repeat, and then they changed it to Edge of Tomorrow or something like that, or whatever. And so they did that, and now it's called Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey. Oh my God! And I'm purred happily.
Parks and Rec reference.
Oh man, great show. Yeah. But Harley Quinn: Birds of Prey, and honestly, I actually like the title of the movie, even though it's the original title of the movie, which is Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. I think it's a very creative title. It's long, but it's creative. But now it's just Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, which is more accurate, to be honest, because at least it's more straight to the point to public audiences.
I'll say this, speaking about public audiences, this is a good transition, but whenever I told anybody that I was going to go see this film, I would be like, I'm going to see Birds of Prey, whatever, and nobody would know what I'm talking about, and I would just be like, it's the new Harley Quinn movie, and then they'd be like, oh, okay, that one, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well, even then, it's like, okay, so kind of connecting to the other thing is that like this movie is bombing, and I could tell from like immediately. I love this camera change that you're doing. By the way, we're FaceTiming like properly because we thought it'd be better to actually have like proper reactions.
I had to dim my phone light because my phone's dying already.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. So anyway, this movie is like, it's bad how little movie it's how little movie. Whoo, how little money it is making. Because like. So when we went into the theater, you weren't there yet. So I went with, it was you and then 3 of my friends.
Yeah.
Okay. When we got there, we were the only people in the theater. Like, Keenan was not there yet, and I like rode with all my friends from school. Then I think 2 people came in, you came in, and then like maybe 2 more people came in. I think in total there was like 10-ish people in the theater, maybe 9 roughly. And I was like, this is the opening. Like, we went to the Thursday night showing, like at 10 p.m., which it was 10 p.m. and a little bit later, but still, I was like, really? Like, this is how, like, this is the turnout for this movie. Yeah. And then, like, over the weekend, like, I don't know the exact numbers, but
it was like 33 million domestic for the whole weekend.
And its budget is roughly. It was $97 million.
That's a pretty small budget. I mean,
that is small.
Yeah,
but like I doubt it's gonna make a whole lot more money. Like it'll probably barely break even. I feel not in terms of its entire run. Like I feel like it'll probably end up making around like. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. It's like you're getting into like you're thinking about worldwide numbers and stuff like that, but you got to remember like theater chains are taking about 30% of whatever they make for ticket sales. So let's say it's at 30 right now. You know, it's really they're like at 20 because the theaters are taking 30% of that money. So it's tough. It's also really disappointing because even though like I didn't love the movie,
I would encourage people to go see it.
Yeah, like I think that this movie like is like I think a lot of people would like this movie if they went to see it.
Oh, definitely.
And that's what
I think the action is like really well done.
So good.
It's people were saying that it's like John Wick, and I'm like, I see what they meant by what they're saying with that in terms of like it's very well choreographed like John Wick, but it's not like don't expect like Harley Quinn to run in with dual pistols and like be doing like awesome trick shots and stuff. I think that
there's
and, like,
a certain level of
double tapping guys.
There's a certain level of like brutality to the action that is very similar to John Wick. However,
there's some parts that make you audibly gasp. You're like, oh, and the same thing happened in John Wick. Yeah.
And but with this movie, it doesn't like you're not seeing like the Steadicam and choreography that you see in a John Wick film where it's just like so well choreographed and you're just completely enthralled at what's going on and you can see everything that's going on. But there is a very unique style to the action. I think it's a little bit different in a good way.
Oh yeah. It's really wacky and like it's very
comic book
true to to Harley Quinn. Like I remember I remember playing as Harley Quinn in Arkham Knight because she was a playable character, and it was like that's what it looked like. I was like, oh wow, okay, like that's kind of what they taken from this, and that's what the DCEU has been really good about is like really making the comic book feel of the fights and stuff. Like I mean, I think about even back when Snyder was kind of in control of everything with like Batman v Superman and how like the warehouse fight, and I'm like, that's Arkham right there. Like even though he was killing people and stuff like that was very Arkham-esque with him like just like pummeling guys and like he's just this beast,
right?
And so Harley Quinn was very like zany and like brutal and kind of like a wild card.
Yeah, she has her own fight style. It's like when you get a playable character in these games, you kind of have a different fighting style for each character. And that's how each of these characters
acrobatic
felt.
And stuff like that.
Yes, it wasn't very like one dimensional. each of these characters kind of had their own like unique abilities and skill sets.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say
Canary,
about
go ahead.
real quickly, I just wanted to say about the movie was that this is really a Harley Quinn film.
Mm-hmm.
And I've mentioned this on a podcast before that Harley Quinn isn't really like, I don't find her to be a very compelling character. I think I actually see Harley Quinn as very overrated, but it's a fun character at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little bit overrated. But I thought Huntress and Canary were really standout characters. There was definitely more for Huntress. Like in terms of like backstory, there should have been more.
Yeah.
But like her character kind of got sidelined just a little bit. But I think that there was something there that they could have explored a little bit.
I definitely wanted to see more from Huntress because we both really like Mary Elizabeth Winstead. If you've never seen 10 Cloverfield Lane or Sky High, I'm joking about the Sky High, but Sky High is still awesome. Go watch it. If you have Disney Plus and you haven't been using it, go watch it. But she's great in 10 Cloverfield Lane. Amazing movie.
Yeah.
And so, like, she does a really good job, but she's also, like, kind of, like, funny in terms of her, like, anger issues and stuff. But I wish we would have gotten more from her.
She's got a dark past.
Yes. And I'm glad they acknowledged it because
me too.
It is very much like that in the comics.
Same thing for Canary. I mean, they briefly touched upon like her past really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
But dude, her fight style and just everything that her character had going on, like I felt like at times she had more screen time than Harley Quinn did.
Really?
I think so because she was spending a lot of time with the villain of the film. And and then with there's a child. If I don't know what I can spoil or not, but
I mean, Cassandra Cain, who in the comics, I will say that's probably my biggest gripe with this whole thing is that they used Cassandra Cain as a very big character in this movie.
Yeah, and
she's just this little girl who's like a pickpocket.
Yeah.
And granted, maybe she'll grow up and they'll do something, but I highly doubt it.
Same.
But in the comics, she's Batgirl.
Yeah.
She becomes the second Batgirl, and it's like she's like a scary Batgirl because she's got like a full like cowl over, like you can't see her face at all, not even her eyes. And she took over for Barbara Gordon after she was immobilized by the Joker in The Killing Joke. So it was a really cool thing. But I feel like that was kind of a wasted thing. But I agree with you with Canary. I loved her fight style with like, they kept it accurate to the comics where she's very like kick based.
Yep.
She's always like using kick moves and stuff. I think if you play Injustice 2, she's the same way in that, you know? And to be honest with Canary, it really got me interested in hopefully maybe one day a Green Arrow and Canary movie or something. I think it would be, because people have always wanted a Green Arrow movie, but I think it'd be really cool if it was kind of like Ant-Man and the Wasp style, but with Green Arrow and Black Canary, where they're kind of sharing it, even make Canary the lead and like the Green Arrow the supporting character.
I think that like it's not like she can't carry her own film, because after seeing that film, I was like,
definitely not.
I'll be very like straightforward with you guys. I know this won't make a lot of people happy, but I just don't like Harley Quinn. Like I love Margot Robbie, but I found the character.
She does a great job in this film, by the way.
She's a great actress. I just don't like the character, and that's just a personal preference. So every time we had a chance to get away from her, and like I'm like, okay, we're with Huntress or we're with Canary, which I really liked Canary a lot. I was very surprised.
Yeah,
I was like kind of relieved. I think the biggest problem for the film for me had less to do with like even the characters or the script or the villain. It really came down to like the beginning of the film was really slow to me. I thought the pacing was off, and I thought the editing was borderline just like Suicide Squad, like annoying.
Yeah.
Because
I could see that.
There were times where tonally things just weren't fitting for me. In terms of like song selection when they were playing music.
Yeah. Ooh, the soundtrack is I do not like the soundtrack. It's distracting.
It's not that the songs are bad. It's just like they're bad in the place that they're put in to me.
Yes.
And then there was a lot of like cutting around where we're like, okay, we got to go back to what happened yesterday. And I'm just like, oh my God. I thought we were actually moving it.
Like that first like third, I was like, okay, we're in a certain point, and I was like kind of assumed what was going on. They're like, well, hold on, let me explain for a second. And then they go back, and I was like, oh. And so we had to like see all these 3 characters get to this one point where they eventually kind of cross over, but then they do more flashback stuff. It's an interesting way of doing it, but it was a little, it's absolutely like Deadpool.
Yeah.
But I still think Deadpool does it better.
Of course.
But I mean, I actually, I don't know. It's weird. So I think we kind of have the same opinion, but like, I'm not a huge Harley Quinn fan, but I enjoyed her in this movie a lot more than I enjoyed her in Suicide Squad.
I don't like anything about Suicide Squad. Maybe Deadshot. I like Will Smith as
There's
Deadshot.
a couple things I like about Suicide Squad, but not much.
Yeah.
And so I think the best thing about it was that Margot Robbie is so passionate about Harley Quinn.
Sure.
She does a great job because she cares about the character a lot, and she embodies the character really well. So I really like that. But we got to talk about Black Mask.
Yeah,
dude,
definitely.
The best part about the movie, hands down, was, and I think he is the best DCEU villain, but well, other than Zod, because I really like Zod, but that's because I'm biased. I don't know if that's factual or not, but I love Zod.
Zod was, I think Zod's probably number 1 for me, but yeah, Black Mask is like, whew.
Black Mask is great. Ewan McGregor is having such a fun time with this. And I was a little concerned going in because Black Mask is kind of like a really serious character in the comics, and I love him, but I like the direction that Ewan McGregor took with the character, which is very hard to do with me because I'm kind of a comic book purist in some senses. And so he was awesome. His costume design was great. Yep. Whenever he put on the mask, I literally would. You probably saw me, but I went yes. I was like there's a part where if anybody's played the Borderlands games, they do this kind of introduction thing where like they'll show a character and then they kind of freeze frame, or they'll like show them doing something, and like so maybe they'll like they'll cock a gun, or they'll shoot somebody, or like they'll be in some pose or whatever. And so when she's introduced, like Harley Quinn has like introduces all these characters like and who she has like beef with or whatever. You don't want no beef? Sorry, I had to do that. Sorry, oh, God, such a bad movie. that was Joker from Suicide Squad. Just, I'm not a weirdo. Well, I am a weirdo. Anyway, and so when she introduces Black Mask, and it cuts away, like it shows Ewan McGregor, and then it cuts away and it shows him in like the full costume with the black mask, and he like shoots like the gun at the screen. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I like this. And then later on, there is a shot that like I want a 4K freeze frame of, but he gets out of the car and starts walking, and I was like, ooh, I like that. And he just has like this army of just masked guys, and he's a great villain. Did I spoil anything? I didn't spoil anything, no. Did I? Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
The third act of this film was awesome.
Great. I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved the way they did the action. I loved the way that they kind of forced them to like all of the protagonists of the film to work together and kind of interwoven their arcs.
Yep.
But yeah, and then the ending, like the way they end the movie is kind of like a little, well, they teased something that was pretty cool. By the way, do not stay after the credits for this movie. You'll just make yourself angry.
I tried to warn you.
I had to know. I had to know. Well, I'm sure everybody's going to go watch it, and they're like, I want to know. I want to know. But yeah, the only thing left to say about Black Mask, other than like Ewan McGregor being great, is that he just deserved better. I'll leave it at that. But his character deserved better.
I thought he was like definitely the standout.
Yes.
Along with like Huntress and Canary. I can't get over Canary because I think I just had so low expectations
for her character.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh, she's just gonna be a side thing, you know.
What are your thoughts? We haven't talked at all about Renee Montoya. Like,
I found her character a little bit annoying to start with.
Same. Yeah. I did too. I was just like, okay, first of all, like,
she didn't fit within it. Like, for me,
it just seemed a little. I was like, you could have just made the Birds of Prey Harley Quinn, Huntress, and Black Canary
for sure.
Like, that's different from the comics because like Harley Quinn is part of the Gotham City Sirens, which is her, Poison Ivy, and Catwoman, I think.
This was what it was supposed to be at first.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, that's right. And then they combined it, you know. And I would have been fine with that.
Yeah.
But not knocking the actress of like who played Montoya or anything. I just didn't have anything. Like, her character doesn't like really do anything cool. She's just a cop.
Yeah, I didn't think she really fit in. to the whole story, or
and I would have cared more had she maybe have been like, this character build up in the Batman movies or something.
Right.
Like, well, but there hasn't been Batman movies like to
No.
build up, because Renee Montoya is like, if you watch The Dark Knight, for example, like she's a character in The Dark Knight that's like, for anyone who's seen it, like she, her mom's like in the hospital, right? And there's a part with Harvey Dent where like Montoya like sells out Gordon's family and stuff, and like, but she's like a cop within the police force of like the Batman mythos, and so just kind of like not having anything, I was like, with her, I was just like, all right,
I was
whatever.
shocked at how much they used her to try to bring in comedy.
Yeah, and it never really
landed.
There was never really any points that I just like
Laughed.
that I had like really laughed. Like there was parts where
There
I
were a
chuckled or
couple
was like,
for me.
but there's never like, it's not like a Deadpool or like, even like an MCU movie where I'm like actually laughing at like the jokes or whatever. It's just like, okay, like whatever.
We should probably get moving on to other stuff pretty soon, but
yeah.
I'll say this about the movie. There's a lot of talk about people saying that this is like, this is like straight up a feminist propaganda film. And as someone who doesn't really like politics in film, I will straight up tell you that this is far from a feminist propaganda film. And everyone should give this movie a try, because there's people not seeing it because they don't want to support whatever cause. I'm like, there's no cause. I'm like, they're just some really cool characters who are women.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I'm very disappointed that it's making as little as it is, because I'm shocked. I'm really just shocked because
I'm blown away.
I see something like Suicide Squad making a ton of money, and I'm like, why can't this?
Suicide Squad made a ton of movie, and that was because it was at a time when DC was still very like on a high point, And Suicide Squad, I mean, also like, let's be real, it looked awesome when it was coming out,
You got Jared Leto and Will Smith.
That trailer with Bohemian Rhapsody is still one of the best trailers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's nuts, it's wacky, and it embodies that, like, what that movie was probably supposed to be. But
oh my god,
that's why it made so much money. But like Birds of Prey is
the BK commercial part.
What?
Remember how I said that there was like one part that seemed like a Burger King commercial?
Yes.
That's when I was like, I almost leaned over to you and said I miss Batman versus Superman, because like I was like, this is really just off, like the whole thing.
I think you said that after the movie ended or something like that. Like I remember you did say that to me at some point.
Halfway through the movie, I almost like whispered over to you and be like, I miss Batman versus Superman. But the movie got better as it went along, because the first act was so back and forth and everywhere, and like throwing music in your face and trying to be funny at parts, but it just wasn't working for me. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
So, or not Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad 2.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. No, well, there is going to be a Suicide Squad, but that's another.
Would you say that because we both were kind of going into this movie like, I don't really like this, because I was like, I had really low expectations. Would you think that or say that it exceeded your expectations? Or was it just kind of like right there?
It was like right above my expectations, because I think my expectations were a little bit higher than yours.
Probably.
At first they were the same as yours, and then like after I heard like that it actually was decent, like with the Rotten Tomatoes and good reviews and stuff, I was like, I'm a bit more excited for this movie. I'm not like going crazy over it.
Yeah.
But once I heard the action was good and like Ewan McGregor was great and Huntress was great, I was like, that's what I'm here for. So
yeah, I'd say it's like it exceeded my expectations for sure. And it's because of Black Mask and Huntress and Canary. Like those characters, I don't know, like I'll say this over and over again, like I'm shocked by Canary. I expected Huntress to be really good, and she delivered on that, but I was shocked by Canary, and I would love and hope to see more of that character in the future.
Yeah, so, let's hope if you haven't seen Birds of Prey, go see it, and just kind of develop your own opinion on it. But I think it deserves better, and it's also far from a stereotypical comic book movie. Which I know people in the film industry get really heated about, the whole debate on comic books and like if they should have a place in film. But this is unique, and this is the director, Kathy Yan.
Yep.
She's definitely having fun with it. So is Margot Robbie. It's different, so you should definitely go check it out. Even if we didn't love it. So yeah,
Preach.
That does it for the Birds of Prey stuff.
Yep.
So second piece of really big news is. Sorry, my phone keeps on vibrating. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear yours, but mine's dinging.
Okay.
We're struggling.
Cool. Yeah, it's technical difficulties and all that. Not really, but anyway, second piece of big news is that Sam Raimi is in talks for Doctor Strange 2.
It's happening. It's 100% happening.
It's gone. Normally, like when that stuff comes out, there's like a big, or they'll quickly they'll like deny it or whatever. And so this is almost like guaranteed to be happening. Like there's heavy talks.
The fact that Scott Derrickson spoke on it makes me think that it's happening. How he basically like congratulated him and said he's excited for what he'll do with it.
Yeah.
It's huge.
It's funny because so we were, if you've been keeping tabs with us if you haven't and you're new, Keenan and I very much love Doctor Strange.
Yes.
The first film and just the character as a whole. We also were really upset when Scott Derrickson departed from the project. And honestly, this is probably one of the only things that could have pleased me.
It's the next best thing.
Yeah. Honestly, it could be even better.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know, Sam Raimi is a huge Doctor Strange fan. He just loves the characters that Steve Ditko created. Yep. And Steve Ditko was, he was notorious for. So Stan Lee and Steve Ditko co-created Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, while Stan Lee and Jack Kirby co-created Captain America, Fantastic Four, Avengers, all that stuff. So it was kind of those are kind of the three geniuses of the famous Marvel
early
characters,
Marvel,
you know? Mm-hmm, exactly. And so Sam Raimi is a big Doctor Strange fan, which is why he has a Doctor Strange reference in Spider-Man 2.
Love it.
It all comes full circle. Yep. So yeah, I'm very happy with this, and I really, really hope it happens.
I think it's definitely going to happen. My thing is what do they have planned for this movie? Because you're talking about Sam Raimi directing a Doctor Strange film dealing with the multiverse. And I think that there are options out there. We're going to get into some other stuff regarding Spider-Man and Morbius and stuff. Yeah. But I don't know if Marvel and Sony have something up their sleeves, but there's some wonky stuff that's about to happen within the MCU and the Sony
I think the
Spider-Verse.
MCU is about to get crazy with this stuff because do you want to just go ahead and talk about that small piece of news to kind of tie it in? Yeah. So Keenan made me aware of this today, but apparently, so if you haven't seen the Morbius trailer, there was this whole thing where there was a Sam Raimi Spider-Man on an alleyway wall. It says murderer over the top of it, correct? Mm-hmm. And so everyone was like, what the heck? Sam Raimi Spider-Man? Yeah. Well, then everybody was like, it was probably some guy at Sony who's just took a screenshot of Spider-Man from the Spider-Man PS4 game because it's literally the picture they used and it's just reversed. Yep. Well, now there's some stuff coming out with these. Is it reshoots or is it
there was reshoots happening with Morbius, or additional photography is what you could say.
Essentially, some stuff to kind of go fill in the gaps, as a lot of movies do. It's a very normal thing. And on this bus, there is a thing. So what is? Let's see. I think I have the tweet pulled up. Yeah, I do. On this bus, it says, "Where is Spider-Man? ? Find out only in the Daily Bugle." Sounds normal. Yeah. Until that's all right. Yeah, they're talking about the MCU Spider-Man because I'm sure he's gone somewhere right now because the world hates him. But the catch is, so in Spider-Man Far From Home, it was the dailybugle.net. Yeah. Very different logo. There is a web page for the dailybugle.net, for the promotion of stuff, and they even add stuff now. J.K. Simmons did a ton of stuff. Right. You can tell he's having a ton of fun. The difference with this bus thing is it's the old Daily Bugle. It's not the dailybugle.net. It's the logo that they had on their newspaper from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man
literally
trilogy.
Ripped it from the Sam Raimi films and put it in
there. This can't be just a coincidence. They can't be that stupid.
you think, okay, if they do one thing, you're like, okay, the graffiti on the wall of the Sam Raimi suit, you're like, okay, somebody
that's a mistake,
messed up,
you
or
know?
they should have put something else in there. Maybe they'll CG it and put a different Spider-Man in there.
Yeah.
Now, when you see another mistake, quote unquote mistake like this, you start to wonder if it's something intentional, and that's kind of where I'm at. And with this whole I don't know, like
Sony Marvel thing.
Yeah, that it's really confusing. I have no idea what their plans are for it, but I feel like whatever they're doing is going to shock some people.
Yeah.
Because you also have to remember that Morbius has the tie-in with the MCU Spider-Man villains.
Which we know it does because, you know, in the trailer it has Michael Keaton's Vulture from Homecoming. So we know it's connected to the MCU.
Yeah, so that one isn't as shocking because it's very straightforward. They're like, hey, Vulture's in this movie. It's connected to the MCU.
Yeah.
Whatever. Now, with this whole Sam Raimi thing, that's when it gets really interesting because you're like, are they finding a way to connect 3 different universes or, you know,
or connecting, like, just bringing in another universe. And so now with, like, it even is, like, it's just weirder even now with, like, well, I mean, obviously with the success of Spider-Verse, the movie, you know, like, and even
I'm just waiting for like the next trailer 2 for Morbius. We're going to see Paul Giamatti just like pull up in his rhino outfit. We're going to be like, I am the rhino. Yeah.
Oh God. Honestly, as mad as people would be, I would cry.
Yeah.
But like, it would, with Sam Raimi like possibly directing Doctor Strange 2 and now this and like all of these like things connected to Morbius and like it could I think they have to be building up to some kind of like some type of like multiverse thing with Spider-Man. It's only a matter of time before so Spider-Verse 2 comes out 2022.
Yeah. Yeah. God, that's a long way away.
Yep, unfortunately. But I mean, with the success of it, like I'm sure Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield all saw that movie. I mean, granted, Tom Holland had to have, right?
Right.
And like, you know, all 3 of those actors, I mean, I can't say much for Tobey Maguire, but I know Andrew Garfield cares about that character a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like if they had the opportunity for like, I mean, it's the best animated picture of 2018, you know, they would have to be like super excited to be able to jump back into that in some type of thing. I don't think they'd want to do live action.
They got to build it up though if they're going to do something like this.
Exactly. And that's why I think I'm like, okay, now that they're, you know, Sony's kind of doing their own thing with the villain Spider-Man verse stuff, and like now I don't know. It's
rumors of Spider-Woman 2021 now. It's like
that was a big thing that came out today. Was another rumor / small news thing. Is that like it's not a rumor. So it was confirmed that Sony is making some type of Spider-Man type movie in 2021. But they didn't say what it was. And see, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, it's Black Cat, or it's it's Kraven or whatever. Yeah, exactly. But like, I'm not gonna lie, Spider-Woman would intrigue me because I believe Spider-Woman is Jessica Drew.
Yeah.
She's a lot different than regular Spider-Man. She doesn't just like swing around. She kind of has more like cosmic type powers, but also has webs and stuff. It's weird. She's interesting. She's not just typical like just a female Spider-Man.
This whole thing's
weird.
Know.
It's about to get real interesting.
It's interesting, weird. Sam Raimi, he's gonna crush Doctor Strange 2 in every way imaginable.
Yes.
So I'm excited
he's
for
gonna
that.
nail it, man.
But I mean, it also opens up the possibilities for him. Like, I don't know if they're gonna do this whole multiverse thing. Maybe they figure out a way to.
He just calls Tobey Maguire.
God, I mean, like there's something
hey, man.
there. Maybe it's just like a little Easter egg or something. There's something's going to happen with this. I don't know what it is.
Something is going on. I will find it out.
I'm putting on my tinfoil hat and I'm going full conspiracy mode right now because something is strange. Everything, in your
neighborhood.
When it's Sony, I'm like, okay, they can make mistakes. You kind of expect that from them, but I'm like, okay, this is like starting to feel like it's intentional. I don't know. I'm excited. It's weird, but all of this stuff just keeps getting me more excited for Sony's Spider-Verse.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was about to say. I'm like, because of this, listen, Sony. You had a hard time with me on Venom, all right? I was looking forward to it, and you didn't really redeem yourselves. And then with this whole, abusing all of these Spider-Man villains and putting them in a pretty much in a prison cell where they're not connected to Spider-Man, I was very upset.
Yeah.
Also with Morbius, like, why would you make a movie about him, like the C-list Spider-Man villain? Great villain, but why does he need his own movie? Same thing with Kraven. But now you've got me intrigued, Sony. You've got me pretty interested.
I think that they kind of I feel like Sony has an idea of what they want to do. Like there's some sort of vision there now.
They have to be collaborating with Marvel. Like they're like, listen, guys, if we want to make this deal work, like we got to do something.
Because I feel like
Kevin Feige's like, well,
if they were not collaborating, because what they do because of the multiverse, they have a way out of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if Sony does something with their movies that Marvel doesn't necessarily like, they could just be like, oh, that happened in their universe, it didn't happen in ours. That's their way out. But because we haven't I feel like if there was some sort of kind of friction between the two sides, we would hear about it somehow. Like I feel like there would be a report that Marvel's unhappy with Sony or vice versa.
Yes.
So that leads me to believe that maybe there is some sort of something going on with Kevin Feige.
I think this is definitely hot off the heels of the the sour deal that happened earlier late last year, a couple months back with the whole losing Spider-Man and stuff. But then obviously it came we all knew it was they were gonna figure something out. Plus we've also got Venom 2 this year.
I'm excited for that too.
People kind of forget. I'm like, why am I getting excited? I need to. Oh my God, what's happening? I don't know, man. But this is.
Crazy times we live in.
It's weird. I didn't think Sony would ever get me I'd ever get excited, but if they have an opportunity here, and I hope they utilize it and figure it out. But yeah, we kind of went through 3 big news pieces all within one thing.
Oh gosh. That's a content creator's dream right there.
Dude, yeah, dude. Listen, we're getting good at this. I mean, we didn't really talk much about the whole Spider-Woman movie thing, but I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Just very quickly before we jump on to the next thing.
Yeah, I'll hold my judgment until after Morbius, and I'm a little bit excited, but I'm not really a big Spider-Man Woman fan.
Spider-Man Woman?
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Okay.
You said that earlier too, but I thought you were
I also feel like I said that months ago on a podcast. I possibly have.
He just had a flashback when he said Spider-Man Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider-Woman, not a big fan.
Yeah.
But if Morbius is good, which I'm actually building up some excitement for Morbius, and Venom 2, I'm calling it now. I think it's going to be good. I'm a believer in.
I think it's going to be
Serkis.
good.
So
yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm here for is Andy Serkis.
Yeah.
You got me with Andy Serkis.
100%. So
I'm the same opinion. Well, actually, I do like Spider-Woman as a character, but I'm we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
And all going forward with Sony's stuff, but anyway, we've got 3 things left that are kind of smaller things, but also big things. So we talked about a little bit last week with the whole Emily Blunt in talks for a Marvel role, and then only a few days later, John Krasinski was in an interview saying that he would love to play Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four.
Yep, me too. Me too, John.
It's happening. It has to happen. That is the shot heard around the world.
Yeah.
If you've got the worst thing is going to be if Emily Blunt plays some side character or some villain, like you said, that just dies. But come on, you got to get John Krasinski and Emily Blunt for Fantastic Four. They literally could be the new faces of the MCU.
Oh, for sure.
If Captain America and Iron Man were the face it that they are a power couple, and literally they will be a power couple in a movie. It's just, I mean, that is that's a great potential they have there. So, what we've already said, I mean, there's no more I can really say about John Krasinski and Reed Richards thing. But if he wants to do it, get him.
Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, has that whole idea about family with it, and I can just see John and Emily just being the mother and
especially
father
with
of
Quiet
this.
Place.
Yeah,
Like, which is a very like family oriented movie. Quiet Place Part 2, by the way, next month. Let's
very
go.
hyped for that.
Yeah. I think like with like, I mean, John Krasinski is actually a really good writer, and like he just with his entire like, you know, he's a very family friendly person in general,
Yeah.
and I think that would be a really cool role for him. And if he's excited to do it, like if he wants to do it, like, all right, Marvel, get him.
Yeah,
You got him.
get the checkbook out, because it's going to cost them some money. But geez,
Yeah. I mean, John Krasinski is like,
if we could see them for the next 10 years of Marvel, I will be so happy.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would put him off from it is possibly like having to feel like he couldn't do other stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, since The Office, he's really Emily Blunt has done a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And then John Krasinski, he's done, you know, Quiet Place and like 13 Hours and a lot of stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, maybe he would want to. It's hard to say. Like if I was in it's hard to say. If it depends on the actor, really. But I guess we'll see.
I just hope.
It's
all I can
at this
see.
point. Like if it doesn't happen, I'm like, it's like my dreams are crushed.
Yeah.
But we'll see, I guess. Anyway, we've talked about that like enough on plenty of episodes, so we'll shut up about it. So second to last thing, which is pretty big, and I actually want to talk about this a good amount, although you may not be as familiar with it. But so there was a rumor that, so with the whole Obi-Wan series, like kind of reworking and stuff, it's not delayed, but like they're fine tuning it and stuff, trying to change it around. There's this rumor going on that Darth Krayt is going to be the main villain of the Obi-Wan series.
Sure.
Now, let me turn it on my Star Wars brain. Well, first of all, Keenan, do you know who Darth Krayt is?
No.
Fantastic. Okay. Darth Krayt is a very famous Sith Lord in Legends, and what he is known for is he was a Jedi all the way from like the Clone Wars period, and he lived further than Emperor Palpatine ever did in the comics and stuff. So he survived Order 66, and he didn't leave the Jedi Order. He was just a Jedi, and he survived Order 66. His name was Asherad Het, and he disguised himself on Tatooine as a sand person and lived among them. I believe he even had children with them, and like kind of raised the family, and so that was kind of his whole thing. And then he lived through like the times of the Empire and the Rebellion and saw Palpatine fall, and inevitably he became a Sith himself. But what he's most famous for, which they're probably not going to address in this because it would be I don't know how they would work that around, especially with like, I mean, they theoretically could, but like it just would be weird with the whole conflict of interest thing. But he's famous for abolishing the rule of two from the Sith. And what he did is he created this thing called the One Sith rule, or like the One Sith power, which is like essentially infinite amount of Sith. Like there doesn't need to be a rule of two or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they can backstab. Like he essentially brought back the old times of the Sith from the Old Republic, where there was just a ton of Sith lords that like train one another, but there was a lot of like subterfuge and sabotage and like killing and fighting among them. But that's like the way the Sith worked, so that they could like overpower one another and essentially grow in strength.
Yeah.
And he wanted to bring that back because he thought like the rule of two was dumb. And so that's where like all these Sith Lords, like Darth Talon, who's like that, essentially like a red and black Twi'lek, who's like Darth Maul but a girl, and like has, you know, she's the Leku things, which are like the, you know, Ayla Secura, whatever. God, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, Keenan?
I'm following you.
Okay,
I don't
cool.
know if
Just making
everyone
sure
else
you're-
is, but I am.
Probably not, because I'm a madman when it comes to Star Wars.
As you're saying all of this, I'm like looking at Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's pretty much. Listen, if you don't want to hear my incoherent ramblings of a madman, go look up Darth Krayt, and you'll find an entire Wikipedia page on the character.
So to summarize, so I'll just put myself in the place of a
What have you
student.
learned from this lesson?
So to summarize, what you're kind of getting at is that you're excited, and this is
absolutely.
This is a Legends character.
Yes,
that is not canon.
Famous. Nope.
And we have the possibility of bringing a Legends character into canon now, which like that that's where I can get to speaking about this, because like it's been well known that like Disney Lucasfilm has kind of like pushed aside all of Legends. And
that was the biggest uproar when they purchased Star Wars, is that they literally just wiped away just so much great content that had been developed. I mean, and that was why Thrawn coming back for Rebels was such a huge deal, because he was such a fan favorite character. That's why them putting Revan's name in the Rise of Skywalker visual dictionary is such a big deal. That's why bringing Darth Bane back, who was infamous for creating the Rule of Two. Just a lot of stuff that they're slowly bringing in Legends components. Anyway, continue what you were going to say.
Yeah, so just my thoughts on the whole thing is that it seems like, and I've been saying this for months, that Disney Lucasfilm has kind of been making a turn towards pleasing fans. Sometimes in cheesy ways, sometimes in really satisfying ways. But with The Mandalorian, Jedi Fallen Order, and then to an extent Rise of Skywalker, it seems like there's some kind of changes going on with Lucasfilm and Disney in terms of Star Wars content. The fact that they're bringing, possibly, it's rumored, bringing a Legends character to be a primary villain I don't know if it's really I can't say it's fan service, but in a way it is, because
it definitely is.
They're trying to bring back a portion of the fans who really enjoyed that stuff from Legends, and maybe has fallen off of Star Wars since then. So that part is exciting.
There was this whole thing that Kathleen Kennedy made this statement saying that it's not like Marvel, where we have all of this content to base, we have to start from scratch, and people were like, "You idiot!" there's so much stuff.
The source material everywhere.
It's just that's the whole thing, and I'm like, I mean, I didn't actually know this, but apparently he was he was the son of a Jedi. Okay, interesting. Yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff. You can read a lot about it. His dad was murdered by Aura Singh? I didn't even know that. Yeah, I only know roughly about Darth Krayt, but I know the basics. But yeah, it would be really cool to see him in the Obi-Wan show, because he essentially lives on Tatooine the same time that Obi-Wan does, but Obi-Wan doesn't know about it. And I think eventually he ends up going for Luke. But I've also seen some things saying that they're trying to get rid of Darth Krayt from the script, because they didn't want it to be Obi-Wan protecting Luke is just like the Mandalorian protecting Baby Yoda. And I'm like, but it's not the same thing. If Obi-Wan was he's protecting Luke from a distance, not he's carrying Luke with him. And that's the thing. It's it's almost kind of I'm trying to find a comparison, because there's something that I know that's it's protecting someone when they don't even realize they're being protected. And I think that's a really cool concept of oh wow, he kind of has to he has to keep his distance, because if you've read any of the comics or anything like that, Uncle Owen does not it's not like Obi-Wan. They want him to stay far, far away, because they blame him for what happened to Anakin, and they're the same thing's going to happen to our son if you get close to him or whatever. So it would add a really interesting dynamic. I don't know how they would do it. I think they could make the story pretty cool, though. I don't think he would be able to live, unfortunately, which is a big thing, is that Darth Krayt, he lived as far as Luke Skywalker's grandson, Cade Skywalker from Legends, fought Darth Krayt. That's how long Darth Krayt lived. Yeah. He lived from 47 BBY, okay, so 47 years before the Battle of Yavin, to 130 8 years after the Battle of Yavin. He essentially lived for 184 years. Yeah, what a legend, honestly. Literally, he's
Pun
in
intended.
Legends. So yeah, I'd be down with this. To be honest, it was something that I didn't even think about with them introducing that. But
Yeah.
fingers crossed. It probably won't happen, but here's hoping, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, only one last thing. We've actually, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm pretty proud of us because we had a lot of stuff to talk about, and normally we can go on really long tangents and rants, which we still do. It wouldn't be a Comic Blast without it.
Exactly.
But we got through a lot of stuff like really quickly. Like we kind of like combined and amalgamated like a bunch of stuff into one, and it worked out pretty well. So yeah, I'm just, I'm proud of us. We're good podcasters. Pat on the back.
So the last topic is
tired. Yeah. So okay, there was sorry. I'm like going all the way out to the left field now. I'm losing my mind. Last thing is Kristen Wiig. Her first pictures of Cheetah have been leaked, I guess.
It looked like some sort of like promo art or something like that.
Yeah, it's I don't know what it is. It's weird. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, it looks awful. It looks like an extension of the Cats movie.
I'm glad you agree with me because a lot of my friends, they were sending me so one of my friends sent me the thing and another friend like responded to it on Twitter, and I was like, they were like, "Oh wow, this looks good." And I was like, "What?
No.
What?"
Dude, I saw it on Twitter. Somebody posted it on Twitter. I immediately like died laughing. And then like I just replied LOL because I was like, that looks bad. I don't know what people
I don't know what's wrong with her like lips, but like and her teeth. It doesn't look like Kristen Wiig at all.
No, it doesn't.
I'm gonna look up. Okay, no, I opened up the Xbox app on my computer.
It honestly felt like I was looking at a character from the movie Cats.
Okay, what's funny is I was about to look up Cheetah and I ended up typing in cats. But
You're welcome.
And I did it again. God. Okay, Cheetah DC Comics because I just want to have like a just like okay, yeah. Cheetah literally in the comics is just an orange-faced person, like, and like she doesn't look that different. And then like, let's see. I just need to look at it one more time. 1984.
See, like when I say that I don't like it, that's just my unbiased opinion. But when it comes down to it, I'm a big supporter of Wonder Woman 2. Wonder Woman, like, it's my favorite DCEU character, so I'm going to be hyped going into it. Objectively, I'm like, I don't really like the character design. There's actually a lot of things that kind of concern me about the movie, but I'm a big believer in Patty Jenkins, and I think that the movie's still going to be great, but...
Random side thing, did you see that whole, like, there was an article or a magazine that came out, and it said on the cover, it says, Wing Woman. And I go, what? And it says, like, on, like, the side subtext, it says, like, oh, the return of Wonder Woman or whatever. Because, like, but that whole, like, eagle suit thing that she has, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Wing Woman? And I'm like, guys, there's this character in DC called Hawk Girl. You should check her out. She's pretty cool. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why we got to give Wonder Woman a bird suit, but like, okay, fine. Yeah, not feeling it.
Same.
For the Wonder Woman thing, or for Cheetah, I guess. But anyway, I guess that'll do it for this episode because you can tell I'm struggling, can't you?
Well, when it comes down to it, thank you guys for listening, of course. Yes, we are struggling a little bit, but yeah. I just want to say quickly, go freaking watch Birds of Prey before we end the episode.
Yeah,
if
go do it.
If you haven't seen it, go watch it. You'll still have fun. Get through the first act. You'll be good. And support the film. If you just really don't want to watch it, don't watch it. I mean, if you don't think it's for you, don't.
I think if you want to go see something at the movies, Birds of Prey is definitely worth your time, and I don't
sure.
think you'll come out hating it, hopefully. But yeah, that should do it for this episode. We got through a lot in under an hour, and I'm pretty proud of us for that.
Heck
so before we end the episode, of course, everything we mentioned at the beginning, our patrons, thank you guys once again. You can find our social medias, which I don't remember if you said or not. You can find Keenan at Keenan Creates, and you can find me on both Instagram and Twitter. I changed it now to be in sync.
Good.
It is at Schradester8. And then obviously the Comic Blast Instagram and Twitter page is at Comic Blast _. That's where you can find a lot of clips that we make of the podcast, or more details about the giveaways and anything and everything between. We're pretty active on social media, at least when it comes to Instagram and stuff now. So,
yes.
Which is a nice change of pace. Yeah, I think that's everything. And congratulations to who again? Who won the giveaway?
CDC Films.
Yes,
on
congratulations Instagram. On the giveaway, and better luck next time to anyone who enters in future giveaways, which we will inevitably do. So that should be it. Anything else you got to say, Keenan?
I have nothing else I need to add, but I feel like you need to add something this week.
Shazam.